on Channel 4.
Dangerously hot in much of America, and new worries tonight about global warming and the oceans. In depth, the mind of a young killer, from an affluent suburb to a racist killing spree. His views in his own words. Decision 2000, the Senate race the whole country is watching. A law and order mayor and the First Lady. And the Promised Land. Tens of thousands flock to Israel for the millennium. What do they think will happen?
From NBC News World Headquarters in New York, this is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw.
Good evening. It is supposed to be hot in July, but not this hot. It is dangerously hot and humid in the eastern United States, and that's draining power systems, threatening health, and pushing everyone a little closer to the edge. We have two reports tonight on the record-breaking heat and the health threat. We'll begin with NBC's Fred Francis.
The Big Bake, a dangerous roasting that again today breaks records and blankets much of the east from New York to North Carolina.
I'm trying to avoid the sun as much as I can, but it seems to follow me everywhere I go.
New York Central Park, a new mark of 101 degrees. And warnings nationwide for people to stay cool, drink water, anything to avoid more deaths like the 4 this heat wave has already caused. The nation's capital at 102 with a heat index, the combination of temperature and humidity, a sweltering 110 degrees. 7,000 kids sent home on the first day of their summer jobs program. It was not a day for relaxing outside unless you were earning a paycheck.
We're only going to be up there for an hour, so it shouldn't be too bad.
And with most people indoors for the third day of scorching weather, power supplies on the eastern seaboard taxed right to the edge of blackouts. All made more acute with the end of the Independence Day weekend, and office building and factories drawing huge supplies off an already overburdened system. They are worried in Boston, too.
It's the third day of a heat wave. We got a thriving economy. That drives electricity demand up. We have more power available to us than we did a week ago, but the demand, unfortunately, is much higher, which is making it very, very tight.
In Providence, Rhode Island, all City Hall employees sent home when electricity is cut off to the building. And the heat has civil engineers cautious. Transportation departments are on standby everywhere for road buckling called blow-ups, literally small explosions of concrete on road surfaces. Why the danger? Concrete expands in the heat, and when temperatures go above 130 degrees, as is common in this weather, something has to give. Still, concrete beats asphalt in this heat. That's why many bus stops have poured concrete. A heavy bus stops on asphalt will often sink. While experts say this heat emergency should ease in the next 12 hours, with a regular cold front on the way with 90-degree weather, those experts do warn the worst is yet to come. August is 3 weeks away. Fred Francis, NBC News, Washington.
This is Bob Dotson in Atlanta, where most people think they know how to deal with hot weather. But here's what scientists say we don't know. Everyone is at risk. Regardless of age, people who don't exercise are 3 times more likely to suffer heat-related injuries. If they are also overweight, 8 times as likely.
A person who is in less physical condition would possibly suffer the effects at a lower temperature or in a more extreme manner.
2 of the most important ways we regulate body temperature during heat waves are thirst and sweat. But doctors have found that older people don't get as thirsty as they once did, so they don't sweat as much. In part because some of the medications they take actually block the body's ability to cool off. Antihistamines, laxatives, diuretics, antidepressants, beta blockers, anti-Parkinson drugs. But researchers have found that people who gradually acclimate themselves to the hot weather, up to an hour a week outside away from the air conditioning, have fewer heat-related health problems. The single most effective safeguard? Water. People outside need twice as much as on balmy days, at least a gallon.
We do not have specific amounts that people should drink, except that they should drink plenty of liquids as often as they can.
I think I'm going to pass out. I need a nurse.
How big a problem is heat? Doctors say nearly 1,000 Americans die needlessly during heat waves each year. A child left in an unair-conditioned car can die in 10 minutes. And heat is only half the problem. Humidity can make hot nights deadly when the body has no time to cool off. Researchers have found the number of humid nights has increased 78% in the past half century. So the U.S. is not only getting hotter, it's getting stickier. And while 3 out of 4 homes across the country now have air conditioning, scientists warn that heat combined with drought is still the #1 weather-related killer. Bob Dotson, NBC News, Atlanta.
And the weather tonight helped trigger a huge fire at an apartment complex in the Atlanta area. The fire in the 4-story building began on the roof. It was touched off by a lightning strike during a violent thunderstorm. So far, no reports of any injuries. It's one of 5 lightning fires in the Atlanta area tonight. And while this heat wave is expected to pass, scientists tonight have a new warning on the effects of long-term global warming, specifically the devastation to some of the most important life support systems on Earth and beneath the sea. NBC's Dan Lothian has more on that.
What you're looking at is a critical measure of the health of the world's oceans, and experts say what they see here is alarming.
In 2/3 of the world reefs, that most of the corals died, and in over half of them, they basically killed almost everything, from 80 to sometimes over 99% of the corals.
In the new report out today, widespread damage to the Great Barrier Reef off Australia and to coral off the coast of Africa and in the Caribbean. Scientists say El Nino and global warming are raising temperatures in these waters. And when they see bleaching, that's the coral hair that's lost its color, that means the plants which feed the coral are dying off, a dangerous threat to the entire coral reef.
What is worrying about this phenomenon is that A, it's new and it's followed by significant coral mortality.
Researchers have been measuring the damage in inches and feet, some reefs destroyed by as much as 90%. The worst reef destruction on record took place in 1998. Scientists say it could become an annual event, and if steps aren't taken now, the damage might be irreversible.
Although reefs may be the first major ecosystem to be destroyed by global climate change, we know they won't be the last.
Scripps Institute scientist Nancy Knowlton says this ocean problem will become a human one.
Coral reefs are to the sea what tropical rainforests are to land. They house more species than any other marine environment.
It is a potential disaster measured by degrees. Only a slight increase in water temperature can mean disaster. Dan Lothian, NBC News, San Diego.
When we come back, deadly rage. NBC News in depth tonight. Benjamin Smith, a young man from an upper-middle-class white home. What turned him into a racist killer?
This was his way of getting famous. This was his way of making a mark on the world.
A young man who took racist beliefs to deadly extremes, in his own words tonight, in depth. And it's Hillary versus probably Rudy. First Lady sets her sights in New York and runs up against the toughest act in New York City. Who will win?
It's time for your heartburn to kick in because your heartburn relief gave out. It happens 2 or more days a week, even though you've treated it and changed your diet. That frequent, persistent heartburn may be due to acid reflux disease, potentially serious.
It's Prilosec time. Time to see your doctor about prescription Prilosec. Your results may vary, but for many people, Prilosec provides 24 hours of complete heartburn relief with 1 daily dose. Ask your doctor for more information about Prilosec and if it's right for you. The most common side effects are headache, diarrhea, and abdominal pain. 24 hours of complete heartburn relief is possible. It's Prilosec time.
What's so different about specialized blends from One A Day? They're not just herbs. They're herbs, vitamins, and minerals. Specially blended together for things like energy. One A Day. Just what you need to feel your best.
In this envelope with a green star could be a real check for $25,000. In this one could be $100,000. This week there are thousands of real checks in selected Publishers Clearinghouse envelopes with a green star. Watch your mail.
Want to color your gray beard or mustache and get a natural look? It's easy with Just for Men Gel.
You look so natural, no one can tell with Just for Men Gel. No one can tell with Just for Men Gel.
It's not regular hair coloring, it's specially made to penetrate that coarse, hard to color gray.
Simply brush in and in 5 minutes, rinse. Now gray is gone, matched up to the rest of your hair.
You look so natural, no one can tell. Just for Men Gel.
With locations in over 1,800 cities and towns, there's always a Days Inn hotel nearby. Wherever you're going, wherever you're from. Days Inn. There you go.
Tonight, an interactive Dateline Court TV exclusive. Log on to MSNBC.com and be the judge in a deadly mystery. They were headed for a breakup, then he vanished.
I think she pushed him intentionally.
While a jury decides, decide for yourself. Log on to MSNBC.com and vote. An interactive Dateline Court TV exclusive tonight.
NBC News in depth tonight, filled with hate. The young man who went on a deadly rampage over the holiday weekend before taking his own life. Benjamin Smith killed 2 people and wounded 9 others. Apparently, they were all targets of his racist beliefs. From outward appearances, he did not seem to fit the common profile of a white supremacist. Who was this angry young man? We have some answers tonight, and the latest on the investigation from NBC's Ann Thompson, now in depth.
Today, federal agents trace Benjamin Smith's determined efforts to get a gun, beginning on June 23rd, when they say Smith went to this gun shop in Peoria Heights, Illinois, and tried to buy 2 9mm semi-automatic pistols and a pump shotgun. Gun shop owner Tony Schneider.
Well, the background check was done through the state police, and he was denied the next day.
The check found a protection order against Smith filed by a former girlfriend. On June 26, agents say Smith went to an unlicensed gun dealer, bought a Brico 380 caliber handgun, and later a 22 caliber Ruger handgun like these. The same 2 weapons Illinois police found on Smith after his rampage ended with his suicide. Today, police say they found more evidence during a search of Smith's home.
They discovered a receipt for some ammunition that was purchased at a local Walmart. They discovered the boxes for the 2 handguns that were recovered by the Salem Police Department. They also discovered bundles of hate literature.
For all the evidence of hate, there are still many questions tonight about how and where Smith formed these views that led to the rampage in Illinois and Indiana. He grew up in peaceful, tree-lined Wilmette, Illinois, a mostly white, upper-middle-class Chicago suburb. In this house, raised by his father, a doctor, and his mother, now a real estate agent. Smith attended New Trier High School, one of the finest public schools in the country, graduating in 1996. This man, who does not want to be identified, says he was one of Smith's classmates.
Not at all. He had friends who were Jewish, he had friends who were Asian, and every other ethnic background.
But in his yearbook, perhaps a clue, the Latin phrase, sic semper tyrannis, thus ever to tyrants, or death to tyrants. The same phrase that was on Timothy McVeigh's T-shirt when he was arrested for the bombing of the Oklahoma City Federal Building. At the University of Illinois, complaints Smith put up racist posters and signs of violence, including an incident involving Elizabeth Sarr, who says she dated Smith for a year.
He turned violent and abusive towards me, and I pulled away.
Scared, Sarr filed a protection order against Smith, the order that kept him from legally buying guns. As investigators try to find what set Smith off, Sarr says the reason is simple.
This was his way of getting famous. This was his way of making a mark on the world.
A bloody mark of hate left on 2 states. Ann Thompson, NBC News, Chicago.
Last year, Benjamin Smith was interviewed by a journalism student at Indiana University. That student, Dan Nelson, is now an intern with NBC's Today Show. What you're about to hear tonight is very disturbing language. Tonight, the young journalist, Dan Nelson, and the shooter, Benjamin Smith, each in their own words.
Benjamin Smith was disseminating some flyers throughout the Bloomington community, race-related flyers, and I just wanted to get that information out to the public so they were aware of what was actually going on in Bloomington.
We're still getting more and more non-white, and white people are becoming increasingly second-class citizens. Whites are the most productive member of society. The Jews are basically a parasitic race. They've never built a civilization by themselves. They really just move in and infiltrate and try and suck the people dry. That's why they're considered vampires. And we really need to get them off our backs and take this country back.
The things that he was saying were so far out there, things that I've never heard before from another individual.
Blacks are a very dangerous threat because they commit a lot of crime. If we could just deport the blacks back to Africa, this country, the streets would be safe. We all know that a bad neighborhood really means a black neighborhood, whether or not people want to admit it or not. And the Jews and the blacks and all the mud races are trying to destroy our people, and that is why we hate them.
After the interview, I took the tape and boxed it up because I didn't want to see it again.
That was Today Showed intern Dan Nelson, then a young journalist, and the shooting suspect Benjamin Smith, tonight in their own words. Up next, one small step for Hillary Clinton on her way to becoming the first lady to run for the Senate, and why her likely opponent doesn't seem worried, in fact seems to relish the prospect.
Where will you be when your grandson gets his first taste of the ocean? When man walks on Mars? When your children want to discover their heritage? Life is filled with moments you don't want to miss. That's why if you have high cholesterol and heart disease, you should know about Zocor. Zocor is proven to help save lives by reducing the risk of a heart attack. So where will you be tomorrow? That could depend on what you do today. When diet and exercise aren't enough, talk to your doctor about adding Zocor. Zocor is a prescription medication and is not right for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems, because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Zocor, and about any medicines you are taking. For more information, talk to your doctor or call. Zocor, it's your future. Be there.
In hospital pharmacies, they dispense medicines that work fast. For heartburn, that's 1 minute Maalox.
It goes to work on stomach acid in 1 minute. Pepcid AC could take over 45 minutes.
Hospital pharmacies rely on Maalox. Shouldn't you?
Count on 1 minute Maalox.
Okay, ladies, let's bang.
Did you ever have to make up your mind?
How come you got the hefty one zip?
To pick up on one and leave the other behind.
Drop the bag.
It's not often easy and not often kind.
Is that another box of one zips? Where? Over there.
With no pinching, Hefty One Zip slider bags are the ones to pick.
Don't even.
Hefty One Zip. You slide it, you're done.
Give me back my one zip. I had them first.
Boogie woogie, rumbling round, creamy, dreamy, rumbling round. It's got yogurt blended right in with the creamy taste of butter. You'll try again.
The goodness of yogurt, the creamy taste of butter with half the fat and calories. Must be Rummelin' Brown.
You've all gotten what you wanted in this deal. V6, dual sliding doors, etc., etc. What about my client? Where's his share? Who's looking out for him? Jackie Childs, that's who. What's he need with 9 cup holders? What about 9 bottle holders? Yeah, you like that, don't you?
Oh, brother.
What's that?
Nothing. The all-new 7-passenger, 9-bottle holding something for everyone Honda Odyssey. It's one big happy minivan.
Friday, get a double dose of our summer concert series when Chicago and the Doobie Brothers take it to the streets. Brought to you by the incredible edible egg, only on Today.
Get more of the Today Show with Later Today, coming in September.
President Clinton halfway through a 4-day swing across the country on a mission to draw attention to communities that have not been full participants in this country's economic boom. Today it was the Mississippi Delta, the boarded-up main street of Clarksdale, a forgotten town with an unemployment rate that's more than twice the national average. The president is pushing public-private partnerships to stimulate investment in these kinds of communities, which are still mired in hard times. Today was a big day for Hillary Clinton. She opened a campaign exploratory committee, her first official step toward running for the Senate from the state of New York. This committee allows her to raise money and spend money for advertising, polling, and travel. The travel part is, of course, already well underway. Mrs. Clinton is starting what she's calling a listening tour of upstate New York tomorrow. As for Mrs. Clinton's likely opponent, New York City Mayor Rudolph Giuliani, if he's worried about running against a history-making first lady, he's certainly not showing it. In fact, today he looked downright pleased. More on Giuliani tonight from NBC's Andrea Mitchell.
His friends and enemies agree. He's brash, arrogant, aggressive, the ultimate New Yorker, a perfect opponent for the First Lady. And today, after she opened her exploratory committee, he's already in her face about being a carpetbagger.
You should always explore. Exploring is a good thing.
who can have anything against exploring.
Still an undeclared candidate, he's raising money, traveling the state, and ridiculing the First Lady's newfound interest in New York.
I'm going to get off the airplane in Little Rock, and I'm going to say, I've never lived here. I've never worked here. I ain't never been here. But I think it'd be cool to be your senator.
So what kind of mayor has he been?
Good mayor, awful man. That's simple.
His former police chief, forced out, some say, for stealing the crime-fighting spotlight from Giuliani, a former prosecutor. The Giuliani record? Crime is way down, tourism way up. Although many complain he's simply cracked down on jaywalkers, pornography, and out-of-control taxi drivers.
It takes a tough man to run a tough city, and he has brought about the renaissance, the rejuvenation of a city that so many people thought was long gone.
But at what cost? Critics say that crackdown on crime has led to excesses by the police, especially against minorities, and that he doesn't know how to compromise. Incredibly, in 6 years, has never sat down with New York's congressional delegation.
It just doesn't make any sense at all for his staff not to be working on a daily basis with mine.
And critics say he even picks fights with fellow Republicans.
He can be caustic, he can be tough, he can be rude, he can be arrogant, but isn't that the case with all of us?
Now those feuds could come back to haunt Giuliani. Sources say Republican leaders, angered by what they call his independence, are quietly helping a potential challenger for the party's nomination, even though that could divide Republicans and help Mrs. Clinton. Right now, polls show Hillary Clinton and Rudy Giuliani have one big thing in common. Voters either love them or hate them, which means this could be one of the most polarizing and exciting races in Senate history. Andrea Mitchell, NBC News, New York.
In another part of New York today, it was a lackluster back-to-work Tuesday on Wall Street. Late profit-taking sent the Dow down a little more than 4 points. NASDAQ was also down more than 4. Up next, thousands of Americans suddenly flocking to the Holy Land. What are they looking for?
This week, the Publishers Clearinghouse Prize Patrol has no van to drive and no checks to deliver. Because this week, Publishers Clearinghouse is putting thousands of real checks right in the mail. If you get an envelope with this green star, open it and you can find a real check for $100,000 that you can take right to the bank. So this week, the Prize Patrol will have to find something else to do.
Yes. Nice one.
Watch for a Publishers Clearinghouse envelope with a green star. There could be a real check inside.
Great meal.
Uh-oh, gas pressure. What now? What else? Gas X, with the most powerful medicine for fast relief. Nothing works faster.
Hey, want to go for ice cream?
Gas X, the power to fight gas fast.
With Days Inn hotels in over 1,800 cities and towns, finding a place to stay doesn't take a federal investigation. Days Inn, there you go.
This is indeed a small miracle, a triumph over everyday arthritis pain, made possible by a remarkable medicine, Tylenol Arthritis Extended Relief. So effective even the newest arthritis prescription hasn't been proven to work better on pain. And no other type of pain reliever is gentler to your stomach than Tylenol. Miracle drug? Someone sure thinks so. Tylenol Arthritis. Take comfort in our strength.
Ouch! Pain again? I thought your dentist said brush with Sensodyne every day.
I stopped when the pain stopped.
Keep using it. It keeps working.
Sensodyne every day. And try Sensodyne Extra Whitening for brighter teeth every day.
It's barbecue season, the busiest time of the year for your deck, which is why you should protect it with Thompson's Wood Protector. Nothing we make works harder, longer. For rain, sun, mildew, or low-flying meat, Thompson's Wood Protector, it never takes a day off.
Hi, I have a question about buying stock. What's the difference between a market order and a limit order? Hello? Excuse me.
When you have an investment question, does your online brokerage have anybody there to answer it? We do.
It's not funny anymore.
Just ahead at 6 o'clock, controversy involving the YMCA. For years, the organization has been considered non-profit by tax officials, but some health clubs in Tennessee say the Y is their competition, and they're challenging its tax-exempt status. And a rare shark attack off the Florida coast. The scene at 6 is minutes away.
If you haven't not already made New Year's Eve plans for the end of this year, you may wind up at a bad table and a bring-your-own-bottle joint. But then for many people, ushering in a new millennium, well, it goes well beyond plans for a party. They are part of what can be called Pilgrims 2000. More on them tonight from NBC's Jim Avila in Israel.
The new pilgrims already flocking to Jerusalem 6 months before the millennium. By the year 2000, Israel expects 4 million people, 3 times more than normal, to follow the road to the Holy Land, many to meet their Messiah.
It doesn't say he's returning to Anaheim, California.
The refrigerator salesman from Jersey.
It says, in that day, his feet will stand on the Mount of Olives, which is in front of Jerusalem on the east.
The former showgirl from Las Vegas.
Jesus is going to return on the Mountain of Olives very soon.
Her husband, an ex-con, former thief.
This land, this city, is the focal point of all history and the future.
And the Brooklyn High School teacher.
If God wants to save him in California, God is able. But I would encourage them to come into the ark of safety, to come where God's people are.
They call themselves God's people, not your normal tourists, giving up everything in America, filling hotels and renting homes to greet the millennium here. To these pilgrims, even more important than the holy sites behind the walls of Old Jerusalem is the Mount of Olives. They call it God's elevator to heaven, where they believe Jesus ascended and where they now expect him to return. It's Wednesday night in Bethany, on the backside of the Mount of Olives. A handful of American Christians gather for Brother David's weekly prayer meeting.
You have to seek the Lord.
David won't divulge his last name, says his training is as a salesman, not a preacher, citing the Bible, scriptures, to sell the idea that Jerusalem is the only place to wait for the Messiah.
If you had a loved one and you knew that they were coming in and they were flying in, you would go to the airport. You wouldn't stay in your house and wait for them. You go to the place where you knew they were arriving.
On a neighboring hillside, Pastor Solomon Ben David, the former Winston Churchill Rose, Brooklyn teacher, awaiting his Messiah.
We believe that the kingdom, in the last days, the kingdom would be set up in Jerusalem.
So he too gave up everything, 3 years shy of a full pension.
I'm not saying God is able to save you from anywhere, because it's God. But, you know, I wouldn't take a chance.
Boston University professor Richard Landis heads the Center for Millennial Studies. He says Jerusalem is now Millennium Central.
It's going to be a magnet. You're going to see a whole bunch of messiahs coming here.
Messiahs, pilgrims, all converging on a holy city, risking everything on a special place at a crucial time. Jim Avila, NBC News, Jerusalem.
Of course, it's worth remembering that for people of many faiths, including some of the most populous nations in the world, China, India, Indonesia, this millennium will have no real meaning because they don't have that kind of calendar. That's Nightly News for this Tuesday night. Don't forget Dateline tonight at 10, 9 Central. I'm Tom Brokaw, and I'll see you back here tomorrow night.
Nightly News is a presentation of NBC News. More Americans watch NBC News than any other news organization in the world.